things you didn't know the use for. Unless you're irrationally inquisitive, there's a number of features on things that you use every day that you probably never even noticed. However, these things aren't always just for show and have an intended purpose. Here are things you didn't know the use for. Number 1, spaghetti spoon. Lots of little things in life actually have some pretty useful tricks behind them that can significantly help us live much easier lives. For instance, anyone who regularly boils up a pot of pasta will be familiar with a spaghetti spoon. Spaghetti spoons are distinguishable by their forked edge and a hole in the ladle-like area of the utensil. One might imagine that this hole's main purpose is to strain the water when ladling out pasta, but there's more to it than that. The hole actually fits the size of exactly one serving of spaghetti so that when you're making your meal you can accurately measure it. Those who can really go to town on a bowl of pasta might not be satisfied by the spoon's suggested serving portion. However, at least once you start counting how many servings you're making, it can be a useful tool to make sure you aren't making too. Number 2, the extra piece of fabric that comes along with your clothes isn't actually to use as a patch. This is what most people might think and then throw away. It's actually there to use as a tester in the laundry machine to see how the fabric reacts to different detergents or bleaches. Number 3, that little hole at the bottom of padlocks. Ever wonder what that little hole at the bottom of padlocks beside the key part are there for? Turns out, this tiny hole is there to help oil the lock if it becomes rusty. It also works as a drain to drain out any liquids that may go into the lock. Number 4, hat Pom Pom. Have you ever wondered what the little pom-pom on the tops of hats are for? Well, today they are used mainly for decoration, but back in the 18th century, French Marines used to wear them for protection against the low ceilings of ship cabins. They were also used in uniforms for soldiers to help distinguish the branch of military a soldier was in. Number 5, backpacks. You're probably familiar with the diamond-shaped squares on the backs of most backpacks. Most people think they are purely aesthetic. However, these things are called lash tabs or pig snouts and are intended to hold extra gear on cords to be strung through the openings, ideal for camping or hiking. Number 6, the dimple at the bottom of a wine bottle. The dimple at the bottom of a wine bottle is called a punt, and it is there to prevent bottles from tipping over. There are actually a number of things the punt helps with, including chilling wine faster, making the bottle more resistant to high pressure, and easier to hold and pour. Number 7, the small loop at the back of shirt. You may be familiar with the tiny loop, which adorns the back of most dress shirts, but it isn't just there for decoration. They are there so that you can easily hang them up in a closet without wrinkling them, a beneficial feature especially when you've run out of hangers. Number 8, the blue side on erasers. You may think that the blue side on erasers is used to erase pen. If you've ever tried it, you already know that erasing ink only leads to a tear in your paper. The blue side of an eraser is actually meant to erase pencil on paper which is heavier or thicker than normal paper. It can also erase any smudges left over from the pink eraser. Number 9, the colored squares. Have you ever noticed the colored squares on the center of the bottom ridge on toothpaste tubes? Well, these colored squares actually have a purpose. The squares are called color marks, which are created when being manufactured. The various colors indicate whether the packet can either be folded or cut. Number 10, the little holes in the windows of the airplane. Those who fly often may have noticed tiny little holes in the windows of the airplane. These holes are actually called bleed holes, and they are wedged between two other panes of acrylic material. Bleed holes are there to equalize the air pressure from the inside and the outside of the airplane.